Funny. Of course, Carl is not here for that.
I know, right? He'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right. So, Isabelle, we're so excited.
I'm so happy to be here.
We are so excited you're here with us.
Oh, look, I'm seeing, it's rare that I see, for some reason, I'm set up in a way that I don't see people's faces, but I'm actually seeing a few faces.
So let me do gallery view. Do you see everybody now?
I see 1, 2, 3, and you.
That's it? So go to your speaker view, and you can change it to gallery, and you'll be able to see all of us.
Okay. I don't see that button, but I don't want to waste any time on it.
Okay, so let's just dive in, because we only have 30 minutes with you, and we have some questions. And just know, whatever you say, we're listening to. So, you know, but we have a few specific questions that I would love to talk about. But, you know, we are so excited you're here. Connecticut is so excited you're here. Wild Impact, myself, thank you for taking the time. But we're going to dive right in. Ready, guys?
Okay.
Are you guys excited?
You know what? I just checked out your question, and I was writing down real fast, and like super fast, and it's sticking. I can't even read it because I always forget what marketing called my products. Because for me, it is the product, like the adaptogens or the minerals or and I'm like, wait a second, what did they call this one? Because you gave me a bunch, and I was like, what was that one again? So I was trying to write, and I think I remember correctly. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm there.
Absolutely. I mean, I would love to start, if it's okay, with a couple of things that always come up about the Ultimate Reset, which I've done a couple times, and I know how much you absolutely adore it. But for specifically, mineralize and like basically, and soothe, like what are benefits of both of those, but also what do you use on an ongoing basis that is like a non-negotiable, like it's just part of you every day that you would recommend from that line? Because I just don't think we utilize that. You know, we do the Ultimate Reset and then we go, okay, I did it. And what do you highly recommend and why? Okay,
so what's interesting is I've done this my whole life, right? And then I met Carl, and now I work with him and Darren. But we know before Darren was hired, I worked with Carl, and I said to Carl, it's very interesting because now I'm doing exactly what I was doing my whole life. But now when I talk about products, of course, it's always, oh, well, she's just selling. And, you know, I did that my whole life. And what I created with Darren, I created a zillion times for myself and for others. And I didn't have my line, so I created for other people, but also I bought from other people because I didn't have my own stuff. So it's interesting because I'm going to say something, and that's why I'm preempting it. And it's going to sound like I'm selling. I can't make you see inside of me, but I couldn't care less about selling, like literally. My whole life, I paid the price for not caring at all about marketing myself, selling, trying to make something big. And I always did things my way, and sometimes it worked out, and sometimes it just made things more difficult. So I'm here, I do the same thing I've always done. I'm sharing my truth, what worked for me. And it doesn't mean it has to be exactly that way for you, ever. Actually, it rarely is. We are all so unique and so different that you do whatever it is that you try, you need to be open-minded and to see what works for me right now, not a year from now. Because I see these concept of I need to find the thing, whether it's the food, the workout, you know, whatever objectification of ourselves, the style or the job or whatever, forever. Like we want to fix it and we want a very black and white answer. And for me, I can say my entire life, things change constantly. Jobs, I never knew ever what I was going to do, ever. It was always sort of things unfolding, happening, and then suddenly, what do you do for a living? Oh, well, now I do blah, blah, blah. And then 5 years, 10 years, or things change. And within what I do, I change the protocol constantly. And so I'm really big on figure out what works for you now. And sometimes the whole thing works for you now. And sometimes 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 7 or 1 out of 5. It doesn't matter. You give it a good shot. and then you remain open and connected to who you are and what felt right for you, regardless of what the experts say. That includes me. So when people ask me things about what I think and stuff, it's like I'm giving it to you so that you can make it yours. So back to what you said, this program, as well as all the boosts, were created with that spirit, allowing you to figure out what it is that you need in your life and allowing you to have it separately so that you can do that. So you try the detox, and you may do it once, never do it again. You may do it once and do it every year, or you may do it twice a year for life. I've known Melissa, who is an amazing coach too, and she is like one of my greatest, like makes me so happy because she loves this product, and she is, religious about doing it twice a year, I think. And, the whole thing works for her. For me, I can't even do it that religiously anymore. I used to, but not anymore. So what I do is use every single one of these things, but not the detox. So the detox I do once a year. Everything else is part of my life. It literally has been, is, and will be part of my life. Whether these particular product exist, what's behind the title are things that I will use and have used forever. I believe there are just elements of nature that are designed for this body. This body craves these kinds of things. And of course, there's different blends that I could have done with Darren. There's a zillion choices. Nature is plentiful, but it's not always possible with the purity, the quality, the efficacy, the potency, ability to use the technology that is kind and gentle enough not to destroy everything that we want, and yet let go of all that we don't want in them. And also planet Earth, unfortunately, as I always say, and I think that if you Google, you'll see that we're not the only ones saying that. We're doing a heck of a number on the soil, the air, and the water, which makes it hard for us to get good stuff. So this is why we have our team with every single product doing such diligence and diligent work to remain committed to purity, quality, potency, efficacy, so that basically it doesn't have any crap in it. It has all the good stuff you want, and it works. So we're behind that. So that being said, the Soothe, if I'm correct, is the turmeric and aloe vera, correct? Are you muted? Okay, good. It's okay. You nodded your head, so I'm good. So basically, turmeric and aloe, that's anti-inflammatory and helps with digestion. So not only do I take this Soothe, but I take liquid aloe vera as well, and I eat turmeric. I cook it and I make it in all my stuff, tons of stuff. I do that because of the anti-inflammatory and oxidative stress ability to help our body deal with the stresses of life. And basically, those are the big thing in life. It took forever for science to realize that. It's been said for thousands of years. Stress. If you understood the amount of chemicals that are released and their side effects, you would understand why learning to surrender to the day-to-day, learning to be at peace with the now, as Eckhart Tolle, a person that I adore, always talks about, it's sort of understanding that what is will always be. What is happening, there's nothing you can do about it. Melt down like a toddler, it doesn't matter. It's happening. So he always helps us understand that surrendering doesn't mean being a victim. It means take a deep breath and surrender to what is happening, because it will happen. It's happening. So to surrender to that and not fight it gives you a calm and a clarity to actually be better at dealing with the situation. So I just wanted to put that in real quick because I love that stuff. It's part of my other kind of job that is not really part of Beachbody, but it's intricate to health. So that being said, those stresses, these side effects also do all sorts of things to your digestion. Your whole body goes, you know that. You can feel it. You don't have to be a scientist to know that. You can feel when you stress out, everything constricts. And it creates inflammation. I don't want to go deep into it, but I think we all know what that means. It means the inflammation gets in the way of your organs and your whole body to proceed accordingly, to do the right thing, to take care of itself appropriately. So these stressors of life, internal a lot and external. So basically, if you understand what I just said, like your kid is going nuts, meltdown, that's one thing. Worrying about what other people thinking about it and being ashamed of what's happening, that's extra stress. Do you need to feel that way? Not really. We all had kids. We all know it happens. No big deal. Who cares what they think? You just handle your child. The more calm you remain, the more effective you will be to help him or her calm down. So that's the outside stress, and then that the events, and the inside stress, how we deal with it. So that's oxidative stress, and creates inflammation. And then we have our constant judgment and thought process going on and on and on and on all the time about all the stuff we're not good enough, nothing enough, basically. That's pretty much sums it up. Nothing enough. We're nothing enough. No matter what we do, it is not good enough. We don't need other people to tell us that. We are very good at telling ourselves that. That creates tons of stress internally, inflammation, working out. All these things, the real terrible things of life is a death, an illness, your child getting really sick, all these things. So all these elements, and I'm talking now about all of them. I'm talking about the soothe, which is your aloe vera and turmeric, which is particularly good for digestion, but also any kind of inflammation. Again, please go Google these elements. Don't just go on the Beachbody platform. Go somewhere else so that you feel at peace with what I'm saying or what you're reading on the website, on our website. So, but I'm talking about our power green. So I'm going to just go through the whole thing because it really is, I don't like to complicate things, and it doesn't need to be, because it's the truth. The truth is stresses, really stresses, whether it's no sleep, stressors. So your minerals are, that's called mineralized, I believe. Your whole entire body needs these minerals every day, all the time. Again, just to perform at its best. It just is required. Now, I'm talking about the minerals. So what we have here is Himalayan pink salt. Clean, we did our due diligence on it. Very different than table salt. So I don't know if you're all familiar with the difference, but it's like night and day. One should not even be called salt because it actually takes your minerals out in order to be processed. And the other one replenishes your minerals. Minerals when you work out, minerals when it's hot outside, but also the daily minerals that are needed for dozens and dozens of functions in your bodies. Same thing with your power green, your antioxidants, right? Same thing, helps your body deal with stress, giving you another crucial element, your greens, which none of us eat enough of. Hard to get the good stuff nowadays, or enough diversity, whether it's we can't have access to it. I know my mom in the mountain in Canada, winter season, very hard to get much good greens at all, or whether you hate them, i.e. how Carl used to be. And so whatever your problem is, these will help you replenish your body, help your body get enough of it, enough of the greens. So whether it's a binge week on vacation or weekend, soccer game, football game, and you know that your body has not gotten at all what it needs for 2-3 days, that's when you want to pile up the mineral salt on your food, or by itself in the mineralized. This is when you want to have aloe vera, especially empty stomach. Just drink aloe vera. The boost is amazing with the turmeric and the aloe. It's like a powwow combination. These two things have been researched like crazy. It's rare by Maine doctors. So you have got Maine research. You've got tons of information online for it. To go deep in all the specifics, a lot of it that legally I can't speak of because it's not Maine FDA, so approved. So you have to go out and research, but I kind of like that. There's no better way to empower yourself and to know without a doubt than doing your own research. So I went through the salt mineralized, needed by your body every day, your soothe, turmeric and aloe, digestive health, and help with dealing with stress and anti-inflammatory, all about stressors. Your Power Green, same thing, antioxidants, very deeply needed with your minerals. It's also good to, with a good adequate diet, it may help with the acidic alkaline balance in your body. Again, if we all ate from nature, from the farms around our neighborhood, from our own gardens, very often, and ate plentifully of those legumes, those fruits, those salads, those vegetables, with our meat, with our turkey, with our eggs and all that, it probably would balance out just fine. The challenge is that we know, I would say most of us don't do that. So we all have a lot more meat and processed food than fresh salad, vegetable, fruits. And if you have to go to the market, we don't know how long these food have been sitting there losing vitamins, which brings me to the optimize, right? And our revitalize, which are basically enzymes, that's your optimize, and then your revitalize, which is your prebiotic and your probiotics. These three, your digestive enzyme, your pre and probiotics, are incredibly important. Without probiotics, prebiotics that are sort of food to the probiotics, you could not function. You could not be alive. They kind of opened the door to a lot of chemical, what's the word in English? Chemical reactions that are needed to do, to be, to breathe, to talk, to think, all that stuff, to move. So without these key guys, you wouldn't be here. So they're crucial. Again, back to sitting on a shelf, these very delicate constituents die very quickly. So when our food sits and gets waxed or gets heated or lasered, right, radiation, it disappears from our food. So what used to be plentiful, once again, is not. This is why we created that, so that no matter how much money you have or where you're at, what is available to you, you can always load up on that, and it helps you process, digest, absorb, and extract and utilize the stuff in the food, the reason why you eat food. And it used to be in food intrinsically, and it still is, but it gets killed for all the reasons I just mentioned. And it's also the reason why our technology, how we process all these elements from Earth, are so important, because you can so easily destroy all of those. And your enzymes are very important to digest your food. Once again, same gang. They're all, it's funny because we separate them, but really it's like a gang. It's like they all work in synergy, which is why the shake is a synergy kind of shake. We looked at nature and we looked at ourselves, and we saw there was a synergy of complexity and subtlety and a need for many. And however you want to translate that, 30, 20, 40, but many, diversity of colors. And they all work together, and they're the best team players. They know how to cooperate with each other and what to do once they get ingested by us.
So we know that the Ultimate Reset, we use all of them, but let's...
All of them.
Because I don't know about you guys, but I like recommendations. People ask me for recommendations, so I'm just going to go out and say, I need a recommendation. And I know everybody's different in our, we all have different needs. But Isabelle, if you had to make a recommendation, and I drink Shakeology every day, what are your two go-to? Like, no, Shakeology is amazing. You're getting all of this, but add these two things. Like, what would you say to someone? Because when we want to feel better, we want to be healthier, and we're like, there's so much. What's the answer, doctor? Like, you ask your doctor, tell me what to do, and I'll do it.
That's a tough one. If you talk to Carl Moore, you'll see that I'm like anything but black and white. I can't even play games where I have to pretend something that I can't fathom. So it's like he hates playing games with me. It sucks. Plus, I don't care who wins, which really makes him angry. So let me think about this. From these, the to 2, assuming you're getting your shake every day, right?
Every day, no skipping.
Okay. That's tough, man. Because we have enzyme in the shake. We know we have all these elements in the shake. This is why those are separate. So you choose what you know you need because you've had no veggies that day or whatever. So I really dislike you very much right now. So wait a second. If I had to, if I was going to die, I would definitely make a choice. So I would say separately in the morning, I would take the digestive health and the revitalize.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's love right there.
I know that was hard. I know it was hard for me because you know. Okay, great. Thank you.
Because of the reason I mentioned, it's hard to get a good aloe because it's such a, aloe and turmeric are so popular nowadays that there's tons of products. It's very hard to choose. So I trust what I was behind. And again, that doesn't have to be you, but I trust it because I created it. So I'm behind it all the way. And then the revitalize because prebiotic and probiotics are so hard to get in food nowadays. So hard. So, and most of us are in deep need also because antibiotics, drugs that we take sometimes on a daily basis, very challenging on our gut health. So this is why gut health is what I went for with the digestive health and revitalize. And this is also why the reset is designed that way. It's really designed to help your gut and your liver, because your liver is part of that. I mean, the whole thing is part of everything, but it's a very weak part of us all. And I know that it's one of the major reasons why I got ill in my 20s. My gut was a mess. And again, one of the reasons I realized big time was that I was like worry mother. Like I was full of fear and worries. And I always felt like people always thought I was so courageous because I was always the odd one and I never fit. And I think many of us can relate to that. And I did things differently, not because I was trying to. I didn't even know how not to, and I didn't understand. I didn't accept it. I thought I was weird and I was supposed to fit in, and I tried so darn hard. And it's funny because and people in the business here, our business, it's funny because hear that one, and I'm talking to women, and I really think it's important to show examples. So some people will look at me and say, oh, I'm thin, you have nothing to worry about. Well, my whole life, meaning in terms of feeling how I feel about myself. So my whole life back home, which thin, by the way, is not hip at all back home back in those days, shapes was much more in. So I was called Q-tips, toothpick, and I was laughed at my whole life. Then, of course, I had to go in the world of track and field because I love sprints, I love runs, I love Olympic lift, and I'm this big, right? So everybody in that world are men, and the women are like they're there. And so I don't fit in, I'm being laughed at, and I was in that world for 10 years. So it's so interesting because if you move me in a different situation, different job, different country, oh, I'm great, I'm perfect, I'm gorgeous. You move me somewhere else. Then I went to Italy, I lived there for a year, where they love round women. I was ugly, I couldn't get a date. So it's like, no matter where they move, like, it changes and it's so irrelevant. Yet so I traveled a lot, Germany, same thing. You travel and you realize, God, this is all a mental concept. Like, it really is crazy and silly. And I'm just making fun of myself, but my point is I had, and I left home super early, so I was full of fear and worry, and it did a crazy number on my gut, because I was not a person who took drugs or ate crazy, like bad food. I was in the athletic field and sports psychology and kinesiology and all that stuff. So I was very connected and aware of health and the body. And yet I was like fear and worries and terribly terrible with my self-worth. And that alone created such tension and stress in me. It was enough. I didn't process my food. I didn't digest well, like all sorts of things. So what I'm saying is not just the big obvious, but all the subtleties of what we live every day makes it so hard for our lovely guts who deal with every thought and emotions of our everyday, awake and asleep. And it's this lovely little place, and we're busy constantly telling it it's not flat enough. Now it's not even enough to be flat. Now you have to have you have to be cut like a guy. So it's like it never ends. But this area gives birth, feeds a human being, feeds us and takes care of us every single day. It's an incredible miracle, everything that's in there. And so honor it. And if you had to choose these two products, to me are the go-to for so many reasons. And that's why I wanted to really go in it, because we think of the obvious, no hot dogs, no sodas, but then we forget how much stress and illness we create from this harsh judgment and assuming that there's a right way to do things. Yeah. There isn't. There's your right way. So what other question do you have?
Okay, so let's go to one that I think we're going to have a quick answer to. Is a hot version of Shakeology ever an option? Now we know about superfoods and all of that, or a way to carefully heat it up. It comes up a lot. People love hot lattes, and they're like, "Oh, I can't reheat it." People throw it in oatmeal, and we're like, "No." But
yeah.
Can you just speak to that?
As of now, we've never even discussed that for all the obvious. So all these carefully selected ingredients that we made sure were still potent and alive for you. As soon as you heat it up, a lot of it will die. Now, some of it will remain. So there's enough. There's some that will remain. This is why it's worth it for kids, especially if you want to make muffins or cookies and things. It is worth it to use Shakeology because it's so much better than what's out there that tastes good, that they like. So to me, it's worth it that way. So you can definitely heat it up in those circumstances. But there's also, and I know they have recipes on the platform, recipes with Shakeology that you don't heat, because then everything remains. So they basically are having a shake and they think they're having sweets. And we have never discussed that for those reasons. I don't know. Will there be some technology at some point that will allow that? I don't know. But, you'll be the first one to know, because I get it. Hot is lovely. And if I can pull that off, I'll do it.
And then lastly, because it's already 9:30, can you just speak quickly to the, we get a lot of pushback sometimes with the sugar count, and we get it, but like, what do you say? Or like, what would be a nice explanation that we get that?
Got it. Well, okay, so I always say, just let me set you straight, whoever I'm talking to. Apple, 19 grams of sugar or so. Banana, 14 grams of sugar or so. This is why I said that on one summit or a video somewhere I said that. So I always tell them, back off. Natural sugar happens in fruits. Do you eliminate fruits from your diet? So I set them straight. Then I remind them that Shakeology is not a protein drink. So of course you can go and get protein drink. Our protein has no sugar in it. It has amino acids, building block protein. So we get that, but we're not a protein drink. We have 60 plus elements, fruit, vegetable, adaptogen mushrooms, botanicals, extracts. So especially the fruit and vegetable, they by themselves have sugar, okay? Then we had, so there is no way that you get that many ingredients with no sugar. If you have that many of those kind of ingredients with no sugar, watch out. Something's weird. Now, can we find ways to minimize? We constantly try. And this is why we have a blend of Loeng Hao. I never say it right in English, but basically monk fruit, stevia, which are plant-based sweeteners. Stevia is 150 times sweeter than sugar. Monk fruit, Loeng Hao, 300 times sweeter than sugar, but no sugar per se, and fantastic for diabetics and hypoglycemic people, i.e. myself. And So, and then we had a little bit of organic cane sugar because we could find organic. For all sorts of different reasons we don't have time to get into, it's very challenging to get good sugar organic that's still alive. So it's organic cane sugar. It's not white sugar, it's a plant. And it's organic, and we're very happy about it. And basically, if any of you cook with stevia, you know you have to blend it with something, because the stevia has a bitterness and a funky leftover taste that most people don't like. Now, I have been taking stevia when it was like black molasses, when nobody was processing it. I was just getting it from the plant. It was black, sticky, and you couldn't blend it. That's the truth of the stevia as is. Technology got better, and now we have it the way we have it, which we can put in our teas and stuff. It didn't used to be that way, and it had a really strong taste. So it's still the case. We have better technique, but it's still the case. So we take the natural sugar, 3 to 4 grams of our blend, which is just the food, and then we add luangho and stevia and some organic cane sugar, because again, 60 plus ingredients, they all taste like crap on their own. I know, because I used to make these drinks before I had Shakeology's machine behind me. I didn't have the technology. People didn't like me, and they had to drink it, right? So we have this amazing gang at Beachbody, and the technology now to do all that, the know-how to blend all this in a way that makes you want to sip it. So that's my answer. I think we did an incredible job at minimizing it to 7 grams, I think it is. And don't forget, it's also balanced with a good amount of fiber and a good amount of protein. That matters. Sweetening by themselves, sweetening with protein and fiber, a whole different ball game. This is why your apple is what it is. It has a sugar, but it's full of mineral, i.e. you mineralize, it's full of mineral and fiber and water. So all these elements makes it a biting 14 gram or 19 gram of sugar in an apple is a very different thing than a candy. Totally different. So what you eat and where the calories from and where the sweetening comes from makes a huge difference, impact on your health.
I feel like no one says anything after you say all that. They're like, okay.
Good. I hope so, because it's like, but I get it. I get it.
It's hard to explain, but that was duplicatable, guys. That makes sense. Compare it to an apple, banana, and the fact that it's all these ingredients and the stevia, and I mean, so watch that again, write that down, give yourself and practice it. Because if you're getting that objection, be able to like bounce that right back to them and be like, well, actually, we did an incredible job minimizing it.
Yeah, and have a salad vegetable party, meaning buy the turmeric, buy the shaga. By the way, shaga and matcha green tea, amazing. Again, adaptogen to deal with your stress, and amazing antioxidants in the form of phytonutrients in the form of a tea, which is just a tea version of all the things I've talked about. That's why we have it. That's why they're great. Always stress. Now, have a party and buy a whole bunch of these food by themselves. Try them, eat them raw, and tell me how good it is if you smash it all in a salad. Now tell me if you want to add a little sweetener in there. That's all I got. So make them try it, get 30 of you, and say that's why. 60 plus.
Challenge, yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. That was incredible.
It's a pleasure. I'm so happy to have been here. It was a lovely, lovely, lovely.
Thank you, Isabelle. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Team, thanks for showing up again, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Be well. Stay healthy. Drink water.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.